Good morning, EMSers, for EMS Week 2019. Thursday is Save a Life Day, so I wanted to show you something you can do to save a life. We've oftentimes had some sort of cut or scratch or something that bleeds a little bit, and normally just putting some pressure on it for a few minutes will get it to stop. This guy's bleeding a little bit worse. Now, I don't have gloves, I don't have anything on to protect me, so I will have to make a decision whether I would want to risk touching his blood and getting whatever he may have in order to try to save him. Now, the odds of getting something are low, but they're not zero. So I just want you to be aware of that. And if you have something like gloves or a piece of plastic that you can use before you touch his blood, that would be better. But he's bleeding, and just like little cuts, this is a bad cut, but I start with pressure. So I'm going to take my hand and hold pressure right on the wound. Now, that's kind of a broad area, so I may need to try to put a couple of fingers on it if I can see exactly where the bleeding is coming from and hold pressure there. Got some bandages nearby, so I'm going to go ahead and put those on, hold pressure, and it's continuing to bleed. You see the big puddle of blood there, so I'm going to make an improvised tourniquet. They do have kind of pre-made ones. If you have one of these, great. These are much easier to use, but if you don't, you can make one out of a strip of cloth. This just happens to be a bandage. And I'm going to kind of roll it up so it's about an inch or so wide. I'm going to put it around his leg. And I'm going to tie an overhand knot. I'm going to make that really tight. And I'm going to make another knot on top of that. And they have a little hole there. And that little hole is where I'm going to put something stiff. I'm using a screwdriver. You can use any tool, stick, something that's fairly stiff. Some people say like a pen or a pencil. My experience has been those are probably going to snap because this trick to the tourniquet is the twisting motion. So I have to twist this several times, and it's going to get quite tight and it's going to get painful on him. And eventually the bleeding should stop. And then I will use my ends to tie this in place to keep it from unwinding. And I now have my tourniquet in place. Take a note of the time, and you want to report that to the responders, because this is something that's going to be serious enough that you'll need someone to call 911 so that the responders know what time that you put it on, because we can only leave it on for a few hours at most. Hopefully it won't be on that long, but we can, and make sure 911 is called. Hopefully you'll never have to deal with a situation like this, but if you see someone that's bleeding badly, you now know what to do and you know how to save a life.